If somebody could please help out, or everyone, if you guys, everyone could help out by typing the names of the mushrooms that we're talking about into the chat, it helps keep the flow going. And if you want to share tonight, please type your name into the chat and let me know that you want to be called on, and I will just call on people in order that they are signing up. So who wants to go? I see, looks like Marius is the first volunteer. So go ahead, Marius, take it away.
Excuse my voice. I caught something in the woods there. I'm just trying to find my photos quickly. Hold a second. I emailed it to me and looks like the email is a bit stuck. What's going? Oh, found them. Let me just get to my first screen and then I'll share. It's on a it's a conch on a dead pine tree, as you can see. Looks pretty interesting from the side. Let me see if I can... Oh, there's the other one. I had to use the flash to get a good image there. It was a bit dark. And this is the close-up of the pores. It's interesting that it looks like there's areas that has already dropped its spores where the larger holes are. And it's like in patches. It's just interesting to see that. And let's see. Oh, that's something else. So actually I have no idea what this is. Is anybody...
Did you say pine, not oak?
It's pine. It's a dead pine.
I was going to suggest Inonotus hispidus, but I think it was more of an oak associate.
Yeah, you can see the bark here. It is definitely pine. Let me go back there. That one. Back.
Yeah, I don't think Inonotus hispidus grows on.
See, that looks like oak bark to me.
That.
There were other leaves on the tree?
No. There's no leaves. This thing is dead. It's a trunk.
Yeah, it looks like a chestnut oak.
Yeah.
Sort of big, gigantic firs in it. I think it's Inonotus hispidus.
Yeah, I couldn't see this. It's just the stump that was standing there. So you think it's what?
I'll type the name. It's called Inonotus hispidus.
They're out right now. I mean, they're at Jackson, and I found them in the woods in Pine Barrens.
Yeah, they tend to be kind of low on the soft side for a polypore, and like that red fuzzy top.
Yeah.
And the pores should stain or bruise. I mean, if you like touch them or scrape them, they'll turn dark on you.
Yeah, I'm 6'7". I couldn't reach it.
Kind of furry on top a little bit too. Fuzzy.
Yeah. I had to stand tippy-toe and shoot this photo. But okay. Let me this another stranger. Come on. I need to get out of here. I have a very, very small computer. Sorry. This is this thing. Grows in, it looks like where an old oak stood. And I can't convince the owner of the property not to mow it down. So it's the second time this has been hit by the mower blade. So it's probably the only images I'm going to get from it. It obviously grows on the dead roots. Yeah, that's what I have. This is a smaller one. This is the smaller one further down, and this is the large one that I shot from the side. Yeah, that's all it is. It's one big, soft, squishy ball.
Probably some sort of polypore, but it's just so young. I mean, I would venture to guess maybe Ganoderma sesli.
That thing is sitting there is at least 8 inches across. How's that? Is that juvenile?
Yeah, it's just a baby just starting. It's gonna, if you pay attention to it, it'll probably turn into something.
Yeah, well...
I was just kind of taking a pot shot guess saying Ganoderma. It kind of has some like reddish color in there, like a Ganoderma.
Yeah. I saw that.
And those things will start out kind of white, and they're growing right now. I know I've seen a ton of them.
Yeah, let me see this one. That red?
No, the last one. The last photograph.
No, sorry.
in the lower, yeah, where that chunk is taken out, that lower section. That's just a guess, though. I mean, I would say just watch it and see what happens.
I keep
Yeah.
using it to the
Yeah.
lawnmower.
I'm sorry, the Anaderma curtisii growing, it has to be on wood, I think, right?
Yeah,
But
it's on
it grows
hardwood. It's
on
hardwood. There's
root.
definitely an old oak that stood there, and there's a lot of rotting roots.
Yeah, we have, in our backyard, we had to take out a big pin oak and the roots there, I'm getting curtisii and it's soft and squishy like that to begin with. And then it
Yeah,
develops the more lacquered
yeah.
appearance. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
right.
seen before. I lost this. The previous one I lost at the red lacquer type of on the stipe, but
Uh-huh.
in spots, not complete.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. That's a good idea. Is it nearby or?
Yeah, it's right across the on my dog walk. I walk past it every day.
Ah, perfect, Maurice.
Yeah, but I said this guy. I offered to mow the lawn for him around it, and
It's a
he
good
just mows.
strategy.
Yeah, he just mows over it. All
Yeah.
right, that's it, folks. Thanks.
Great, thanks for sharing. Oh, looks like Bianca volunteered next.
So the
This is-
foray was great this past weekend. I enjoyed it with how many people came too.
I think we had like 43. There were a lot of people.
Wow.
So
Are you coming this weekend, Bianca?
I was going to try. Yes, that was my intent.
It's definitely one of the prettiest places that we go, I think,
Oh,
with the lake or the pond.
Definitely spray for chiggers.
Yeah.
yeah. I have a bunch of photos. I just wanted to. Would it be okay if I shared, like, going through them quickly from this weekend, just to keep you in the loop?
Sure. Do you have IDs on them? Are you trying to ID them?
Well, no, it's photos of us doing that. Like it's the group photos
Oh.
with permission.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
First, I have to extract the zip drive. It'll be quick. Okay, here it is. Hi, Josh. I see you. Can't hear you because you're muted, but yes, hi. All right, so I have to open them and then I will share.
Hello.
All right, so first going through with our quite thrilling find of the chicken of the woods that we had found together with Cynthia. She has a little path in front of her yard, so she was thrilled. And this is what I was actually offering during our foray. I had cooked these and offered them to try for people that had not tried them or wanted to have some. So this
And they were amazing.
Yeah, they were good, just air fried and salted. They were tasty.
not stir fried, air roasted.
Fried.
Air roasted. I had an air fried one, which actually was very crispy and was almost like potato chips, which was really interesting. But these were air roasted and we're still, when they first came out of the air fryer, they were really nice and moist, but as they stayed in the fridge, for example, it got a little more dry. But yes, so this was something we were curious about, Cynthia and I, also on this path. They are a type of oyster mushroom, but I don't know what it is. So, oh, that's not it. Oh no, are they out of order? Oh no, that's a problem. Oh no. How do I? Oh, okay. Let me see if I can go back out to see what. Of course not. View large icons. Okay, so that'll be named. Okay, so it's just one after that. Okay, no problem. Back to my screen. That's not it. This one is it. All right, so it's just one after that. So this is the oyster, the top of it, and size comparison with my hand. And this is the underside. They were a very creamy white. I had a feeling they were one of the inedible oysters.
Why?
why.
Mhm.
In my book, I had a very similar comparison to it, but at least the two edible ones, this was not one of them. You think that it is an edible one?
I think it looks like ostrich.
You do, it looks good.
Is it blue? Is it I see a bluish color, blue-gray.
The bluish is just shadows on it. It's really the creamy, just like
Yeah.
this one. Yeah, very creamy white. Here's the top again. It doesn't really have bluish on it. It's more like a
Yeah.
peachy to cream color.
Yeah, that looks like ostrich. Usually, yeah, you would just put it in there. Usually they come out when it gets a little cooler like this, and they have more of a tan color. Over the summer, when it's hotter, we get those really white ones we call pulmonarius. And there might be some other ones too, but yeah, this looks like a good edible one.
Okay, I'll have to let her know because there were so many in her yard. She's going to be excited.
I would like to get a clone sample made of that. How do we go about?
A what sample? A cloning sample?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
We take a small square out where the stipe and a cap meets and place it in a petri dish. There's very active sex cells in there, and then it colonized petri dish, and then you create a culture from there.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, if you're going to the next foray this Sunday, I can meet you there and have a or I'm assuming, I don't know if Cynthia will come, but I can definitely meet her the day before. We're coworkers and friends. And so she can come with a fresh sample and I can give it to you there if you like.
Yeah, because I can grow it on, this is an oyster, so it's going to grow in a mix of hardwood and soy hulls. That's what I grow these oysters on. So it would be interesting to see if how large you can grow it on a fruiting block.
So what you're seeing actually it's growing on now is actually a fallen tree and the roots that are sticking up that are flat now, the dirt that's coming through it's through the roots. Very interesting. I had not seen that before.
Yeah, typically these oysters grow out of the trunk itself.
Well, these weren't.
I'm sorry?
These were not growing out of the trunk. These were growing from the fallen tree's roots. Like, you know, when a tree falls, the roots are now perpendicular to the ground instead of parallel. And so they were growing out of those roots.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before. Okay, so let me move on. Okay, so this was yesterday. This was an Amanita. Oh, I had it. Amanita with a yellow cap, and I had so many of them. I was able to have like all the different stages of it.
Lavendula.
Lavendula. Actually, that's not the one I thought. So thank you.
Lavendula group. There are 3 of them. There are 3 species in that group, and you can only distinguish them by DNA, not morphology. Maybe the spores, 2 species, but you have to do at least microscopic work. There's Lavendula. There is Americitrina. And the last one is called Cornelli hybrida.
Cornelli hybrida.
I'm gonna type them up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to type it in my little notepad here. Okay, so I want to, so that's that mushroom. So this is Luke from the foray. This is our group gathering of kind of orientation. So that gives you a sense of even more people were coming even after this. Oh, hold on, let me go back to, that's part of the foray mushrooms that I want to ask about. This is our finds and a couple people. Oh, here you go. So I think his name was this Josh?
Jason.
Thank you. Yes, Jason was trying the latex from a lactarius mushroom, 3 of which we were not able to identify even with the book. So I was very frustrated. But yes, so this is pictures from the foray of our spread of mushrooms and people. And then us trying to identify russulas, which also was being difficult. Let's see. All right. So
Lauren
sorry?
has Lauren has a question about your lavendulas. She asked if lavendula has something to do with purple. And I don't know. Does nothing to do with the frost? turning them?
Yeah, when the temperature gets cold, at least one of them turns purple or lavender. I forget which one. It's on Rod's website. Probably lavandula itself, but it may not be limited to that species only. So it's a rather ambiguous trait.
Interesting.
Like the top of the cap or the whole thing or certain parts or what?
Yeah, the cap and maybe even the stipe itself too. Yeah, I mean the whole thing gets kind of purplish or lavender.
And you said when it gets cold?
Yeah, when it gets cold nights, something close to freezing or frost or something like that. I can probably find out and send the info to you if you're interested.
It's very important.
It could be.
Bianca, did you ask everybody who you took photographs of if it was all right to have photographs taken?
I basically, after the photograph, I said it's okay. I took a picture and everybody seemed to be.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I know there's always at least one person there who doesn't want their photograph taken. So I wanted to make sure that you asked.
Was there anyone that you saw in my photos that you know
No,
of?
not in that one, no.
Okay.
Just wanted you to be aware of the fact that you need to ask permission.
I do, yeah. I have a habit of doing that. The group photo of us doing the selfie was mostly people's backs, and I hope
Right.
I can take that away if that's a problem.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I do understand that, and it's a habit I have become in the habit of doing. Yes.
Good. Okay.
All right, so
Okay.
this is a Lecterius mushroom, gorgeous in color, has this vibrant orange gills and a very peachy velvety top with what was very like a light lavender color. So this was kind of in the light. This was, I know we don't want to have direct sunlight, so this was out of the light. So this is indirect sunlight, so also that gorgeous color. And let me see if I have the top. That's the latex. And then, oh no, where's the top of it? That's the top, very peachy, kind powdery top.
Lactiflus carugus. The name is in the chat.
Thank you.
Is that the one you guys were trying to figure out?
It was one of them, I believe. And
See how corrugated it looks on the top? That's the name Carugus.
so corrugated on the top. Oh, you're saying from these.
Yeah.
We did identify that and it ended up on the ID table, but
Oh, okay. Well, then it must have been other ones that I was looking at. They were looking more like funnel tips. And okay, so this one was not one of the ones I was thinking of. My bad. I will still put it down in the book.
it's actually good. People eat that and really like it. They make pickled. Some people really enjoy it. I've tried it. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's okay.
What did it taste like?
It's a little bit crunchy. It's kind of interesting, but it's a good pickler because it kind of holds its consistency.
Or you cook it really slowly, like in an oven for like half an hour, and that crunchiness goes away.
Okay.
I got that right out of the Bassett's book.
Okay, I kind of like the crunchy, but
Yeah. All right. What else you got, Bianca?
Yes, and the next, let's see if so this one, it was found slimy. And it had a very interesting type, very reddish pinkish. Oh, we never got a chance to cut it. By the time we got to identifying it, it had dried out. But I was wondering maybe if anybody knew it just as is.
Yeah, Igor put the name in.
Oh,
I'm going in the permissions thing. It might not be allowing it to get your audio.
I hear you.
So Rusula ventricospes.
that's a pretty common pine barren species. We're going to probably see that at Brendan Burn.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'd be
Good to know.
surprised if we didn't. Pretty. And you know what it is because of that, the way it looks.
Okay. And then let's see if I have. Oh, where'd it go? All right, so I'm going to skip this.
Microphone privacy setting. I think I'm familiar with that.
All right. Hey guys, if everyone could mute themselves.
So this is one of the ones I found. I believe it was during this trip as well. So this is the underside. I don't know if it's the hypomyces that is doing this to it, or if it is just the mushroom as is. So I have, this is the top of it. This is the stipe and base, and then that's more of the pore surface. And so this is split in half. So it looks very wood-like in texture, and it was very dense. Let's see if I haven't, no, that's the last picture I have of that. Any thoughts? I thought it looks like a type of bolete, but again, I don't know if it's a hypomyces that's doing this to it or not.
It looks like a hypomycized hydnellum, if that's possible.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at the top, it's like one of those hydnellums that we found in abundance at the foray, concrescence or whatever they are. And if you cut them, they have that kind of a texture. But the fact that this thing is white, underneath, is suggestive of hypomyces. But I've never seen hydnellums or hydnums being hypomycized, so I'm not sure about that. If anybody has any other ideas.
No, I mean, that sounds like a decent idea.
I've also haven't seen the hydnellum have such a long stipe. Is that normal for them?
Some do. Yeah.
Okay.
And we found the Hydnellum concrescens and the scorbicularum both there, which is kind of a blurry line between the species, but we did find both of those.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so also I wanted to share my finds. This is yesterday's finds only. I took 2 hours in Turkey Swamp, and I just wanted to share this. It's for picture's sake only, and maybe I might submit one of these for our picture contest. So, so this is the Cornelius, not the Iodes, the other one, and not the Violetus.
Cortinarius alboviolaceus.
Violaceous, thank you, thank you. So that was the grouping from small to big. And then, so I had lots of different colorful mushrooms. I'm very proud of finding all of them.
Hey, John, what kind of a russo is that? The red one, do you know?
That's the one we were having trouble with before. It was very peppery, and we still didn't find it. It was able to pull off to like almost the center like you were finding, and we didn't find an answer.
And you should be able to find this in the book, or at least get a name, close to it, if you can trust it. Yeah, well.
Well, there's multiple russulas here. This very vibrant red one. These are green russulas. This is
I was referring to the red one specifically.
I figured.
There are hundreds of those.
I have orange ones too, so I had a good time with all the colors.
But the thing is that with the pine barrens, a lot of species that reside in the pine barrens are very endemic to this ecological niche. So sometimes you would think that, these russulas that tend to be common, because they're red, they're everywhere. That could be something very specific, uniquely to the pine barrens. So, well, there's always DNA.
I mean, they're still on the bench if you want me to get them to you.
I don't know. Well, I mean, without good photos and descriptions, it's not easy.
Yeah, you gotta start right with the russulas. So I see somebody's writing a medica, but that's kind of a generic name that people apply to the red ones. But we know that there's hundreds of red ones in North America.
Emetica could be actually a European species strictly, but
Yeah, that's probably true. Because it comes out of all those older books.
Yep.
If you want to study russulas, you really, when you find them, if you're lucky enough to find a group of them like that, you want to start with like some really good photographs in the woods and kind of get a procession of them through their aging process. And then when you get home, you really start with like a spore print and peeling, tasting, probably some chemistry work with them.
The club is trying to find somebody who is in love with russulas to give some material from one of the members that he did some work on russulas. Nina, are you there?
You're talking about Glenn Boyd and Ray Fatto?
No, Richard Bowlesley probably.
Oh, Balsley, okay.
He just died, so that's not going to help.
Oh, he died.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
got his whatever he did, and they want somehow they want to give everything to only one person from the club.
Ah,
Nina knows. I just don't know enough.
That'd
Nina?
be great.
they probably
John-
hit.
John or Nina,
What? Yeah, John here.
did you hear what I said?
Yes?
You want to add anything if you know?
No?
Oh, you don't. Okay, I
All
tried.
right, cool.
I just want to say, one of our members who passed, Richard Baisley, he has a collection of over 1,500 different types of rustlers that he has. It's like they're herbarium ready, spore samples, descriptions, keyed, but some of them are unidentified because there was no name for them. And the family is basically looking for somebody to take over his work. So just anybody interested, just let me know. My website is my email address is on the front page of the contact on the website, njmapress@gmail.
All right, cool.
Somebody's asking
Frank.
for the spelling of his last name, the man's last name.
Bowlesley. I'm gonna type it in.
Okay.
That's it
All
for
right,
me.
cool. Thanks, Bianca.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the emails now, which I have just a couple.
While you do that, Luke, did anyone have a favorite photo that you think I should submit for the photo contest?
Bianca, do a group activity one. Those are some pretty good pictures. Pick one of those.
Oh, okay. I didn't consider that. I thought it would be of the mushrooms themselves. All right, thanks for the suggestion.
Oh, may I say something, please?
Sure.
In our contest, there are 3 categories for the different kinds of photos, and one is called judges option, and you can show pictures of people taking the photo of a mushroom, or people gathering at the tables, or people talking and trying to looking at a mushroom, or you can show photos of technical details that could help identify mushrooms, or for the beauty, the nice photography with nice light and whatever, the angle that you took, the sharpness of the image, blah, 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 blah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Maricel.
All right.
Okay, I have 4 emails here. These are mine. I was wondering if anybody fluent in the Amanitids might be able to help with this one. Something in this section vaginata. So it's one of these really small ones. It was found in a mixed woods. You see the cap is no more than like maybe 3 centimeters wide. There were a few of them. That's the base of it. So it, had that fulval material at the bottom. And I saw a few of them in the area. They were all very small like this. That's how big it was. That's my hand.
Looks familiar. This was not the pine barrens, right?
No, this is Bucks County. So it was in the mixed woods, oaks, hickory, and beech predominantly. See, that was
Yeah, I
beech.
might have a similar collection that was sequenced, mine and I think Dave's maybe. But again, with Vaginate, you know, good luck.
Okay.
Because, you know, DNA is the only instrument that can really separate them because their shapes vary, their colors vary, you know, their albino forms of everything. But this particular darker umbo and the long striations with these goosebumps, that looks very familiar. I've seen this before.
My
I'll,
spores.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. I have some spore photographs, but I didn't manage to get them in there. I don't know where my notes are on this thing.
Yeah, the spores would not be very useful.
Yeah, they were pretty basic, very round, 8
Yep.
to 10 microns. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one. How about this Lexinum, Lexinellum type thing? This was pretty big. This was a solid 4 or 5 inches across. And unfortunately, it broke when I was trying to get it out of the ground. But the cap, very, what do you call that? You know,
Aerialate.
aerially, right?
Oh, whoa, look at the size of those tubes, man.
Yeah, so this whole thing was definitely full grown. This was under a beech tree, but again, there were a lot of other mixed hardwoods in there. No real staining on it or bruising.
Yeah, I don't think this is Lexinum in a strict sense, and by that I mean section scabra, fumosa, and Lexinum. This is one of the quote-unquote Lexinellums, which is polyphyletic. I've never seen albellum so large, but it could be albellum.
That's kind of where I got to when I was messing around with the keys, but it was big. It was bigger than albellum I've ever seen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Crossipodium or any of the ones that look similar to Crossipodium because we have quite a few species here that are undescribed. Albellum is a variable species. You know, some of them are almost white, others are dark brown. I had, you know, mistakenly thought they were different species. I had them sequenced. They all had the same DNA. Granted, it was LSU, the large subunit of the RNA. DNA, I'm sorry, large subunit of the ribosome. So it may not be a good gene to resolve, you know, species in Lexinum, but you know, it looked quite distinct. It's a possibility. I mean, that would be my first guess. A large, blown out, post-mature Lexinum albellum. They're all Lexinum right now, by the way. After Kua and Ortiz published that paper, they collapsed a bunch of stuff into Lexinum. I was not happy about it, but that's what the statistical data told them to do. Collapse everything into Lexinum.
So there is no more Lexinellum?
Well, no, and again, Lexinellum is an artificial grouping because it's not a monophyletic clade. And Kua and Ortiz preferred to just create a larger Lexinum as opposed to split everything up into different genera. You know, they had this whole argument about doing the, you know, the big collapse as opposed to the greater splitting. I can forward you the paper if you want. It's not easy to read, but you have to read it a few times for things to sink in.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, Lexinum. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Oh yeah, thanks. But yeah, I'm working actually on Lexinum right now. I'm totally discombobulated. It's just out of this world. I mean, you can break your head doing this stuff. Yeah, fascinating genus though.
All right, cool. Thank you. Then I have this crust here, which maybe somebody, Maricel or somebody else might know. It does not have teeth to it.
Phanerocaete.
You think with no teeth?
No teeth.
No
Yeah.
teeth at all. Doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't that genus have teeth?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Can you get to a species without doing microscopy on this?
No.
Okay.
But tells me is the rhizomorphs around the margin and the color.
Right.
You didn't
Okay.
inspect underneath because one of those stains the conifer wood red.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes.
All right.
Oh
I remember that.
man. Yeah.
I might have to go back. I've been doing an inventory of this
Yeah.
property, so
Mhm.
that's why I'm kind of like moving through some of these quickly without great observations. I'm getting like bogged down and like trying to like work through all this stuff. I do have a sample of this one.
Phanerocaete.
Okay. So I can at least get a genus of that one for him. Okay. Cool. I might be able to find it again. It was only last week that I saw this, less than a week ago. Okay. These I did get the species on. They just take forever to do. These were supinate polypores. So this one, I was actually happy to get the species on this Nigroporus venosus because I have seen this a few times with caps, but I've never been able to get spores out of them. So there's always been a little bit of doubt in my mind about whether it truly is this or not, because this is really considered a southern species and it's not really well documented up here. And this one was completely resupinate. It was under a log when I found it. So I really wasn't sure what it was at first. Yeah, there it is. Underneath a really well rotted log with a bunch of other stuff going on there. The pore stain, that's a knife being dragged across the pores. So not a very big piece, but you can see it is moving away, coming off. It's not like strictly super flat. You know, it's starting to push away from here a little bit. That's KOH on it. So the KOH automatically pushes me towards the Hymenocadiae. And then I actually got a spore print off of it, which is the first time I've actually gotten a spore print off of these Nigroporus, 4 or 5 tries. And the spores match right up very easily, or very, very well. They're very small, a little bit allantoid, which is like a bean shape. That thick golden colored skeletal hyphae. And finally, I think that was a clamp. These things are supposed to have clamps. I was struggling to actually find some. My microscope's really dirty and cheap, the one I'm using right now. But I felt pretty confident about this after seeing, especially with the spores. So.
Look.
Yes.
You know that you can clear the preparation with KOH? It will clear all the debris and then you'll have a sharper image.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do it many times. Yeah.
Even with this Hymenocadiaceae?
Yeah.
That stuff turns pretty dark with the KOH.
Yeah, it clears some matter and debris.
Okay.
But you run the risk of also clearing the crystals. If there is ornamentation, maybe you see it first, and then if you notice ornamentation, then you can use the KOH. So if it disappeared, you know that it was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so when you do that, do you have it mounted in water first?
Yeah.
And then you drop KOH
in one side, and then you put the paper, absorbent paper on the other side. So it takes the water and the KOH goes in.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
You just drag it underneath your slide.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so that's the first time I've really truly felt confident about this species, Nigroporus venosus.
Look, does it grow resupinate? Yeah.
Well, any of those polypores will grow resupinate if it's stuck underneath a log. I feel like, and you can see on there, you can see where it's like kind of pushing away. So
Oh, yes.
I-
I see it.
I say resuppinate, but it really was pretty thick there.
It has like a shy edge in there,
Yeah.
like a cap. Yeah.
Like if this had been left to grow, it probably, because this was facing downward, that area probably would have pushed a
Oh,
cap
yeah.
out, a cap out right there,
And look at on the upper right.
up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you notice the margin in the left, center
Mm-hmm.
left. Wow, look at the space. See all that space?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, so this species actually seems to be pretty common up here. It's, again, it was always thought to be more of a southern species, like pretty far south, like around the Gulf of Mexico and whatnot. But I know you've seen it, Maricel.
Yeah, I found it like maybe once or twice.
Yeah, I've seen it in Philadelphia. I've seen it in South Philadelphia. I've also seen it right here in my house in the very northern fringe of Philadelphia. And now this is still another 25 miles north of my house. So 3 distinct areas of the region. So, okay. And then my last one, Ceroporia, which I think is one of my favorite of those resuppinate polypores. This is viridans. Felt pretty good about that. So I was looking at your observation. You and Maricel, you and Garrett Taylor are the only other people on iNaturalist that have observations of this.
I found it in Mantua. Yeah, and you made a comment about it when I posted in Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it stains. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This was on the inside of a big old rotted log, one of those big gigantic hardwoods, where the interior of it's all rotted out and it's like hollow in there and really well rotted. I mean, I just pulled this piece of wood right off, and this was up inside of it. So these are the pores. The pores are amazing on these things.
Something else is going on in there, that gluey jelly thing.
Yeah.
There is something that attacks that grows in the midst of polypores. Something glow. Lucia Sivarova in the crust and fungi. She knows about that.
Huh. I'd be curious because I don't know what that is. This
yeah. And look, it's kind of deforming the whole thing.
Yep. Yep. The whole thing had, if you look at this one, it had lots of that going on.
Yeah.
Huh. I'd be curious in finding out more about that.
So put it in the crust and polypores to see what they say.
Okay. So these Ceroporia, they're what they call monomitic polypores, which means their hyphal system basically has one type of hyphae. So they're really soft. So I could take my finger and smear this right off of the wood. But I think all the Ceroporia are monomitic. So they come right off the wood really easily. You can crush it with your finger. And they all tend to have this kind of weird, super angular, abstract looking pores. And often they have like some cool colors. A lot of times they're pinks and purples and oranges. Marisol had an orange one last week. This one stains. So that's my knife dragging across it. You can see it turns brown. A white rotter. So anytime I find any of these polypores, I always dig into the wood to see what the wood looks like. So this is a white rot.
Because the wood is bleached.
Right, because the wood's bleached and
ragged. And
it's like completely rotten. As opposed to the brown rot where the wood's brown and still kind of hard and cubical looking.
Oh, yes, yes, thanks, yes.
Yep. And any of the better polypore books are going to automatically tell you what kind of rot it causes. So it helps, discern things. A nice spore print, and the spores match up very nicely. So very small, like 1 or 2 microns long, wide, 1 or 2 microns wide by like 2 microns long. So which is very, very small. And no clamps I could find. I didn't take any pictures of that. So there are no clamps I could find anywhere, which discerns it from its sister genus, Ceroporiopsis. So you have Ceroporia and Ceroporiopsis, and they look the same, except one has clamps and one doesn't. So I'll tell you what I was looking for. I was looking for Ceroporia puricans, which is a purple one. It looks like Purpurea, but it has smaller pores on it. And it starts out kind of white like this, but it bruises purple. And the type species was found in Montgomery County, probably 20 miles from where I was at. Only back in the 1990s. The type specimen was found there in Montgomery County. And it's only ever been found one other time at a nymph up in Western New York by George Hungerford, who's one of the polypore guys. He found it again in 2018. So it's only ever been recorded 2 times. Both times were more in August, I think in August. So there's this very undocumented Ceroporia species that's floating around this region, Pennsylvania and New York. That is, would be awesome if we could find more of it. So, okay, those are my 5 species for this week. So it looks like Marisol's next.
Okay. Okay. So this one is from the last Sunday in Jackson. And I saw a pile of deer dung, and it was covered with this tiny little stuff in there, and I thought it was a killed mushroom. And it also, oh my gosh, it has also this canon fungus. Can you do the, yes, the yellow ones. Can you point? Center. No, you went too far down. Yellow heads. This, I forgot the name, but I found it on deer poop in Horseshoe Bend. So I am working on the micro because there are more things in there. But I worked first on these troops of little things, and it happened that they're not gilt mushrooms. They are like a match, white stripe, and the cap is light blue gray, and it's made out of like some kind of inflated branches. I don't have the right words. And the spores are born in chains. So I don't even know how I found some observations, and it looks like penicillium, something like that. There is another complicated name, but I just had to dig more information about it. So it's a weird thing. So I did some micro. This is the one, the cap has the spores coming from branches. It will be the light blue-gray part. And the right side is the stipe, made out of like a palisade of Hifa. This is 400x, so I cannot see more detail there. But you can see that the spores are like peas. And then I found a good photo where you can see how the spores are growing in chains on the top part of the photo. Yeah, coming from another inflated structure that is like a branch making the head. And the size is little, is 2.9 unit. Oh gosh, whatever name that is.
Micrometers.
Unit metric. Oh, I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry.
Microns.
So it was really interesting. I put the name is right there. Penicillium. Penicillium. Yeah.
Amazing
Cool.
photos, Maricel.
Good, thank you. This Isigitis is also from Jackson. I couldn't recognize the host. It could be an amanita. And I was trying to find the meaning of the word megalocarpus, and it seems like a big fruiting. And I don't know if they refer to the size of the spores or this fungus grows humongous on in many hosts, but it's all like fluff. And when you look at the microscope, I had to work more. I worked it only last night. It's made out of chains of this inflated Hifa. And the spores are gigantic. They will be, yes, and they grow at the tip of that weird structure. This is a 100x, and I had to work more on this to make it more clear. It looks like chicken fence. The structure, when you look at it close, chicken fence. or chicken net. I don't know what's the word. Right. And you can see now the spores. I said, what? The next photo. Yeah. The biggest spore was 27.6 metric units. I think I put it that wrong. And this is
No, I think you're writing it correctly.
oh,
but
yes, yes.
You can just say microns.
Oh, I couldn't remember. Okay. And this is a 400x magnification. And the one that is behind the words is one that lost the contents. I pressed the thing too hard and this one broke and there were million particles floating everywhere. You see how gigantic the spores are. I mean, the name is Syzygites. Oh no, mega means huge and carpus means fruit. I don't know if they refer to the spores or to, I don't really know. All right, but it was cool to do it. Oh, you missed the first one. We did this one already.
Oh,
You missed the first one.
Yep.
Yeah. The Hypomyces rosea. Okay, I found this one in Jackson too. And it was funny because just the day before I was looking at some hypomyces online and I saw that one and I never saw it before. And then I found it on Jackson and I was so excited. So when I came home, no, that was yesterday. I work on the micro. Wait, today is Monday. I don't know what day is today. Tuesday. I worked yesterday on the micro and it has both stages going on together. So we're going to see the micro. Micro was incredible. So it is made out of these structures that have like 5 parts. So the most exterior part is the one that is ornamented with these pimples like parts. And then there is like a base that has no ornamentation. And sometimes you see them floating, just the 2 parts, the 2 upper parts. They disconnect from the base, from the hypha that attaches to the rest of the fluffy stuff.
What is this structure?
This is like the spore, I don't conidiophore or mycogon spore or something like that.
Right, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to confirm these are the spores.
Yes.
So
yes.
weird.
This is the anamorph, but I found both. So in this photo, you can see on the lower left corner, there is one of the conidiospores of the sexual stage. These red ones are the asexual stage. The 2 were happening together. You'll see other photos to explain that. Okay. I did it blurry just to appreciate the ornamentation. Yeah, you can move on. So this is the asexual stage. You see that on the upper right is one of the spores is growing at the tip of these structures.
Huh. So you think these are basidia?
No, oh, I don't know if hypomyces have basidia. No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'll have to learn more about it. No, I don't really know. So these are the conidiophores of the teleomorph or sexual stage. And some of them divide. I don't really know why some spores, when they're mature, they divide. No idea why. And here the one in the center is an immature one. And the 2 in the sides are, you saw that before, are more mature. You can see the center is pretty big, the nucleus. And I don't know what part of this, what is this in the structure, but I found many of them floating. I measured them, I put the measurement in there. And here the 2 stages together again. Young and mature, connected to the hypha, to the conidia actually. And that's 100x to see the connections among the thing. It's like a fluffy stuff put together. Dense. Right. The original mushroom was becoming black inside. You can see on the arc, yeah, at the base and on the middle of this type, it was becoming black.
So all of that stuff that we were just looking at was found in that kind of like the fluffy outer surface of this, huh?
The pink, yeah.
Seemed even pinker in person. It was really very
It
beautiful.
was, yeah, and like dense. Look at what it did to the gills. It makes it really thick.
These are pretty cool. All right.
Did it smell rotted?
Hmm?
Did the mushroom smell rotted?
It didn't smell bad. Other hypomyces smelled so bad. This one wasn't. Now another hypomyces.
Did you have any idea what it was on, that mushroom that it was destroying?
No clue. It could not be a rusula because the stipe was too thin and too long. It could be an amanita.
Okay.
It was one unit. That was it. This one is from Wawayanda. When we got to the park, we waited at the entrance, and in this little triangle of grass, there are a few pines and oaks. Oh my gosh, I found maybe like 40 or 50 mushrooms there. And these rusulas, some rusulas there, were covered with this white stuff. And when I look with the lens at home, I saw these structures looking like lollipops. So I attacked those with a microscope, and then you'll see the shapes. Another is called microgon too. So this one is a little different, but the structure is like the same thing. It's attached to a hifa, to the other rest of the fluffy stuff, and it has a base, but the terminal shape is different. It has two parts. It's not a ball. This one is immature. You cannot see it there. There is not even ornamentation there. It looks like a strawberry kind of. And then the lower part becomes more marked, the shape. See, I don't know, you know this Mexican tool to make chocolate that is called a molinillo, miller. It looks like that. It's made out of wood and it has several segments so you can dissolve the chocolate. It looks like that. You can see the ornamentation. And the whole fruiting body is like a net of hifa with branches going in all directions and these structures at the end. Oh, this one has 3 parts. I don't know. I have to learn a lot from this. All right. And I thought this one was a hypomyces disease from Wawayanda too, but it wasn't. I posted in parasites, I don't know how to say that, on one side where they studied fungi on fungi, and it was a trichoderma species. This is Xylaria polymorpha, and at the base it has this white fluffy stuff, but I look around and there was wood with the same thing on. So when I did the micro, it shows different structures than the hypomyces. It's like branched, almost like a tree with very few branches. You'll see it on another photo. And the spores grow one at the tip. I'm showing there in the center, kind of, with the, yeah, and below with the white line. Oh, and something really interesting that eventually each of these tips have scars, many dotted spots at the end where the spores were born. So they leave like a scar. You can show other photos to see that. Oh, the spores, the conidiophores. It looks like a pea with a very prominent apiculus, which is the tip.
I have a question, Marisol.
Yeah.
Sometimes you call them conidiophores.
Oh, I messed up. Yeah.
Are you saying spores, or is that correct?
See, I made a mistake. It's conidiophores. Conidia seems to be the hypha where they grow fun, and the conidiophores are the spores. I look in a paper, but I may be wrong. I don't know.
So you're saying conidiophores are the spores that grow on the hyphae directly?
No, when they're grown directly. That will be the name for the spores. But you know what? I may be wrong because this is not a hypomyces. This is
Right.
This is a trichoderma.
Right. But sometimes it says conidiospores. Is there a difference?
I probably didn't pay attention to that. Thank you for that. I'll
Okay.
correct that. Oh, so the thicker hypha is the base, and as it branches, it becomes thinner, as you can see towards the right side. I think that I have a better photo. Yeah. This is immature, still growing. And here I put these lines to show you where there are many little tips, like the scars that I was trying to tell you where the spores were born. So apparently the spores are not born on chains, but single from each one of these spots on that inflated structure.
All right. Pretty cool.
All right.
Any questions? Anybody on that one? Let's go back to the first picture. It's pretty neat. All right. Thank you, Marisol.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice stuff. All right, Nina, you're next.
Yeah. Oh, didn't it come on? It looks like it was cut off. Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, this one, I found this in my weeding I cleared out my tomato border, and I find sort of interesting fungi there. There's this silly little thing. I thought it was a rustler, tiny itty bitty thing, and I was scared to even do too much with it because it looked like it would kind of melt. And when I did the spores, I was surprised because I took a gill, and on the gill there were the basidia things, and there was little crystals in the end. So I guess it's an osprey. You see that? There's little crystal things in those things. See, right there.
Yep, right here.
Yeah. Which surprised me. It didn't look like an osprey. It's only 2 centimeters. It was very small. So I guess that's what it is. I have no idea what what species, but I don't know. I thought I'd put it on and see if you guys thought that might be what it is. I don't know. I dried it.
Well, remember that now there are 4 genera in the Inocebaceae, and Inocebae is just one of them. So it could be like what, Inosperma, Pseudosperma, and Molossaby. I don't think this is a Molossaby, so it's either Pseudosperma or Inosperma. I don't know. So that would explain why it didn't look like a generic Inocebae.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can ship it off to Linus, or we could get it sequenced ourselves. Speaking of sequencing, today I contacted a company in Oregon, hoping to get a price quote from them, and so far I haven't gotten any response, which is strange because it's a small company. Basically, I think just a few people working, and Nobody got in touch with me, but you know, we shall see. I'm going to make more inquiries.
Okay.
Did you get any spores from this thing?
Only the ones, no, not a spore deposit, just those little spores that were sitting on that picture. You know, there was some spores there, but then, you know. looks like
Yeah,
spores.
they're anthoid or maybe not. Well, there's one kind of a bean-shaped thing kind of on the right, which is small,
Right.
but there are bigger ones which are differently shaped. So maybe those are the right spores.
Yeah,
Kind of lemon looking or almond looking, right? You know, look like more ellipsoid.
yeah, I didn't want to set it for a spore deposit because it, you know, it would disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had them dried, okay, right?
Yep,
Oh, good.
okay.
All right.
Next,
Thank
then the next one is out of my tomato border too. I don't know what I just put manure on it. I don't know why it has all these interesting fungi.
What kind of trees do you have close to your garden, you know?
None.
I
It,
mean, the Inocybe is mycorrhizal.
yeah,
It has to be associated with something.
well, let's see, there's ash, oak, birch, there's all sorts of trees that are around the garden, yes, hardwoods.
Okay.
And this is another one I found clearing out my tomatoes. I think it appeared to be a Lepiota type fungi, but beyond that, I don't know what it is. It's kind of interesting too. It was I think the spores were amyloid, and it has free gills, and they were white. The spores were white. So I don't know. I've never seen Lepiota that looked like that, but
So this is probably going off to El Svellinga or Alfredo Justo.
yeah, maybe. Yeah. Right.
Weird looking thing.
Yep. Right. That's a tomato, peculiar tomato border. Oh, maybe tomatoes have mushrooms that are mycorrhizal.
All right, cool. Sorry, no answers for you, Nina.
Okay.
Weird stuff.
Yeah. All right, Svetlana, would you like to go?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
We went on Sunday to the Worth State Park in North Hunterdon, and we found a couple mushrooms. This one I know what it is. There is another picture which shows the maize. This is the large maize and small maize. There are two different mushrooms, and the underside is shown in the next picture. I just like how they look.
All right.
And the name Daedalus is just, to me, it's amazing to compare two mazes, how they look in relation to each other. Kind of cute.
So what are the Latin names?
I have to read. I have to find it in the book. It's Daedalus and Daedalopsis confragosa. I do believe that's what they are.
Yeah, I would agree. The Corsina right there, and the Confragosa right there.
Okay.
These are pretty cool.
It just, yeah, I like how they look. Background of my phone is going to be one of them. Pardon me.
All right, so everyone get that one on the left is the Kirksina, and that one on the right is the Confergosa, and you see the bruising on the pores there.
Yeah.
Your
And
handling.
the bruising is really pink. My daughter touched it and it was getting pink. So it was kind of easy to identify.
I thought you did that too, but then she said,
Okay, you can go to next pictures, please.
Are you seeing that one? The hidden alum?
I don't see anything besides the mazes right now.
Okay. Let me stop sharing and start again. You're seeing something different now?
Yes, and this is something I need help with. I have no clue what that is. It's some kind of tooth. It was very growing under the oak trees, and some of them were brown, which are probably next pictures or previous pictures, but this is kind of whitish, pinkish, and we flipped another one on top, and you can clearly, if you enlarge, you can see the teeth, but it was beautiful to look at them. They're just amazing how they look, but what they are, maybe someone knows.
I've been looking into hydnellum lately because I use them for dyeing, and it's hard to tell because they're really young and immature. But right now, Hydnellum concrescens and Hydnellum scorbicularum are the two top contenders. They've got those little warty pieces on the top. And I would bet because they're kind of lobed like that, they are the Hydnellum scorbicularum. And I guess from what Mushroom Expert and the Michael Quebec source says, they're very hard to differentiate. Even their spores look alike. I took some home from the Forest Research Center and tried to look at them, but honestly, it looks like the same thing. So probably DNA is the way to go. But I would say scorbicularum for those, Hydnellum scorbicularum.
Hydnellum,
and if they, yeah, the ones that are more zoned, they say variation zonate, which kind of makes sense. And then that is the same thing as concrescence. So it's kind of a blurry species mix, but they still list them as two separate species in the Index Fungorum. But pretty, and they are fun to find, aren't they? And those are gorgeous, brand new.
They're beautiful, and
yeah,
they're
very pretty.
like the whole bunch of them. I was on my knees picking up those mushrooms. We just wanted to know what they are. It was fun. Thank you, Eva, for writing that.
Yeah, I use it for dyeing wool. If you do some different chemical changes to them, you can get a pretty blue-green.
Wow.
I've tried and I've gotten the blue-gray. I've never really gotten the blue-green. We have an older club member, Ursula Pohl, that is like the encyclopedia of mushroom dyeing. She's amazing. And she knows all the little tweaks that you have to use. But it's kind of fun.
Very interesting. Thank you. Could you please go to next? Oh, that's. We already saw that. There are a couple. These are the same, very interesting mushrooms, but this is the underside, and the next picture will be how they look when they grow. Some kind of tooth fungus, but here. There were hundreds of them there. Very interesting, very picturesque, and I did not find it in any book.
Now that's gonna be the Hydnellum concrescens. That is the same thing as Scorbicularum various sonata, and it may just be an older version of the ones that you posted the day, right before.
Really, they changed from white to this kind of concentric circles.
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
I took some from the Sunday Parade home, and at the time they really looked very distinct, the concrescens and the Scapicularum. But after I dried them, they really look pretty much the same, to tell you the truth.
Thank you. So you use them for dyeing wool the same way?
I do, yeah.
Do you need a lot of them? I'll show you where they are. Come over.
Did you find the horse bin?
I'm in Hunterdon County. It's
Yeah.
Worth State Park.
Which park? My daughter lives up there, so I go up all the
Worth
time.
State. Huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Svetlana,
Yes.
I might be up.
Beautiful big oak there and all these mushrooms out. We were looking for hen of the woods, but we found chicken of the woods and those, and nothing henny.
When you least expect it, you'll stumble on a hen.
That's true. Thank you.
Thank you.
At least now I know what it is. And this, I have a question. Does it look like crown-tipped coral? Because we found a large batch of corals and we collected them. And then I came home and I thought, oh, the book says yellow-tipped coral and it's poisonous. So I wonder what you all think. What kind of coral this is just from the pictures. I don't have any spore print. I don't even know how to do spore print from these. And there's one more picture of this, which is kind of close. Yeah, that's how it's very young specimen. And it was really yellow. It's actually true color. I had like half of the paper bag, grocery bag, but then everything went to, I did not touch it. And the smell was kind
Horseradish.
of horseradish, not pleasant. It just, we looked at it, I took pictures, but
Isn't the crown tip coral? Isn't that Artemisia pyxidatus? Is that what you're referring to?
yes, I wonder if it's crown-tipped or it's just yellow-tipped coral.
Because the Artemisia that grows on wood, and I don't think that's this because that has multiple points on the tips. I won't be able to be much help beyond that, but
It just, it was on rotten wood, no? In the soil. But it just, it was too, all the corals, like crown-tipped corals, which we found before, were tiny. This one was huge. It was like maybe 10, 15 centimeters tall. And so we said hello, took pictures, and got rid of it.
unfortunately, I don't know of anybody who is very proficient in these coral mushrooms. To be honest with you.
Okay, well, it did not go into food, but it was beautiful, really big and nice.
Yes, they are always a pleasure to see. Okay, I think that was it, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that is all the emails that I have from our members. So I will stop sharing. And from there, I will ask if there's anybody else who would like to share. Oh, I do see somebody.
There is one
Josh.
person.
Yeah, I see Josh. Josh said he wants to share. Is there anybody else who wants to share? You can go next, Josh. I'm just trying to get a
Hey, no problem.
game plan of who else wants to go. All right, go for it, Josh.
All right, let me do this screen share thing. I'm still new to everything, so please be patient. Okay, you guys see it?
We do see your, yep.
Okay.
You're getting there.
All right, so we'll go here. I don't know, it like uploads it backwards for some reason, so I don't know. We'll do this one. This one was on a log, but it was like two-tone, you know. I don't know if that's maybe older. Let's stop. You know, it's like a lighter tan, and then there's like darker ones next to it. It's clearly the same thing. I just thought that was interesting. I have no idea what it is. I think the next picture is like the underneath. You know, it's not like the, it's real flat. So it's almost like oyster mushrooms, I guess, but they turn brown.
Maybe polypodies.
There's so many different kinds of trees up here. I couldn't even tell you. It's like dense woods. You know, northern New Jersey it's like northern and west. So it's like Warren County, kind of about like the Delaware River, little kind of close to that. So I always see so many different fungus and mushrooms and everything, and I know nothing about them. So I kind of only hunt for the ones that I know, and then I kind of just take pictures of things that look different.
Yeah, that's how you learn, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Liz identified that as Blipperus spadius, which I would agree with. There's some other names for it, Royal Porus or Piscipe spadius as well. But if you look at
this was when I found more chicken of the woods, and then some oyster mushrooms, and then some there's still a little bit of the red chanterelles. You know, there's like this giant mountainside, and there was tons of them, but then with all the leaves dropping down and smashing everything to pieces, I guess the bigger ones pop up, so it's easier to see. But it seems like there's more like coral mushrooms and black trumpets that are coming up right now. And I found some and some of the chicken of the shrimp of the woods is coming out. This is a picture of, it was 6 pounds. It was 6 pounds of like young chicken of the woods. So it was definitely, there's like, when it comes out, there's tons of it. You know what I mean? It's never like one little patch. It's usually like multiple patches on the same log. Here's some of the puff balls, but they're not, you know, I'm used to like the giant puff balls. You know what I mean? Like the big white ones. Let's see how I can zoom in on this thing. I don't know. Yeah, so they stay small, it seems like. I have a closer picture of them because I saw some of the other ones like on another trail on like the lot on a log, and then they stayed small, and then they went right to, you know, where they get a hole in the middle and you could puff them, and then the smoke comes out or whatever, the spores. So then I picked a bunch of these because I was like, all right, if they're gonna go bad, I'm not gonna let that happen. So see how they're like they're white, but they seems like they stay small. I don't know. There's a few kinds, right, of puffballs?
Why can you get three for me?
Yeah, there's ones that are like little puff pointy. I didn't know if those were also edible. They have like a little bit of a, not a scale, but these don't have it, but I've seen other ones that aren't pure white. They have like a texture on them, kind of. This is like the picture of the ones where it was like 6 pounds of the chicken of the woods. The mosquitoes are unmerciful, by the way, up here. They're so bad. I have a mosquito net I wear. And this was inside of like a tree, like inside. It might be just a big oyster mushroom, because I've seen them get that kind of little bit of brown, do you know what I mean? Like on the center. This is like a closer up picture. So I think they might be oyster mushrooms. You know, it's all smooth. Or no, yeah, oyster mushrooms have gills. I think that's smooth underneath.
I think it's the same mushroom, the first mushroom that you showed us.
Yeah, the one in the tree. I try to take like an under shot as well. I don't usually pick them if I don't know what they are.
If you were to look at that really closely, probably with a hand lens, you would see pores on there. But they're really small, like 8 of them per millimeter.
Yeah.
So most people need a hand lens to see that.
And that was big. I mean, that was like 8 inches, you know, 8 inches in diameter. This is like what happened with a lot of the, I don't know if it's from the trees hitting it or just extra water makes them split. That's the red chanterelles. I've seen a lot of them like that. They split open. It's like, oh my gosh, great. There's another one. Let's see. That's like a close up. Like, yeah, when they look real nice and red, you're like, oh, I got to pick this. You can't just let it go to waste. And this is some oyster mushrooms, and then I forget the name of these ones.
Trimides.
Trimides? Oh, nice. All right. We learn something every time. Yeah, I picked a few of these big ones. Are they better to eat when they're smaller, or does it matter? Like, even if they get bigger, the oyster mushrooms, that is.
Medium.
Medium?
I wouldn't pick those little tiny ones, but when they get too big, they turn into nothing but gills.
All right, let me move this thing out of the way. And this was where I picked, let me start here. Oh, I'll start here and then I'll just go over. This was like, I see a lot of these brown, like cup shaped, like indented mushrooms. There's also, and they're large size, maybe 5 inches, 6 inches in diameter. And there's also white ones that are real cup shaped. And they have like, like a chanterelle underneath. They kind of like, they dip in. Some of the white ones I see, they go like a lot more. But I see them everywhere and they're huge. So I have no idea what they are.
Yep. Igor put it in the comments.
Igor knows everything.
Not
This
true.
is, God, sorry. So this is where I found some of the shrimp of the woods. And I think they said like the aborted ones are the, like the shrimp. And then there's also the
Antoloma.
antoloma mushroom. Is that what it is? All right. It makes sense why it's aborted antoloma. All right. So then there's those ones. And then this is like them two growing together. I'm assuming they're the same ones because they were like, oh, there's other mushrooms that look just like chicken in the woods and they're poisonous. And I'm like, it's like, ah.
I think what people are warning about is because when you look there, you see the aborted one, which is a honey mushroom, it's an armillaria, and the white one that's growing next to it is the Antoloma abortivum. That's the mushroom that's causing the reaction. It's
Oh, really?
Right. But there's some antoloma, a lot of antolomas are thought to be poisonous, and they often are hard to tell apart. So people are just very cautious about eating those white ones, even if they're growing right next to the aborted ones.
Right.
You still need to be careful and really do your due diligence with them.
But these ones are good, right? The aborted ones they said are always good.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious. As long as as long as you take a good look at them and make sure they are what they are.
And then this was one growing next to like a purple mushroom. I don't know if it's like a, what did they say last time? I forget the name of it, but it's a small version. I know it's hard to tell what it is when it's like younger. Bluets, right? The bluets are the blue ones. Some of them.
Probably not that one though. What do you think that is? Like a Lucaria, maybe?
I have no idea.
Is there beach around the area?
Yeah.
Are they on the beach?
Yeah, like right behind. See, this is the log, like the whole tree toppled, and there's like a small water spot. There's like a little stream, and then there's like a little bit of water right behind it that probably filled in from the tree, lifting up. So it's like the stream flowed a little bit right behind it, and I have to step on like a log to get to the back of the tree. And they're growing like all along that.
Do you know what type of tree it is?
This thing doesn't even have bark on it, so I have no idea.
Oh no, I think his battery cut out.
Oh no,
Just
I found the
before-
name for the purple mushroom.
Oh no.
Oh man.
You can still tell us.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to tell you. It's called, it looks like Gymnopus iocephalus.
Oh yeah?
It's purple, it has white hair at the base, and if you put KOH on it, it turns green. I found it last year in the Smithville.
A purple gymnopus, huh?
Gymnopus iocephalus. Mhm.
Cool. I'll look that up.
Are you looking for that one?
I'm just writing the name down so I can look it up
Oh,
later.
yeah.
Just-
IOCE, phallus, iocephalus. It looks like marasmus, kind of, and it stinks. It has a strong smell.
Huh.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
So, all right, cool. All right, who else wants to go? We have 20 plus minutes. There's always somebody hiding out in the end. They want something to show something. Oh, Lauren has one. She's not ready yet. What are you waiting for, Lauren? I was thinking about over the winter, like, you know, as the mushrooms die down, like what to do. And I was thinking one thing that might be an interesting exercise for us would be to, as a group, to go on to iNaturalist and on the Mushroom Observer and set parameters on there. I know on iNaturalist is really easy to do. So we just see New Jersey mushrooms and just go through an ID as a group. That would be a good way to practice. And it's actually doing something pretty decent, pretty beneficial for the, you know, mushrooming stuff. But if you go on, like if you go on iNaturalist and you can set a filter, you can even set it to look only at specific taxon. So if you just wanted to look at like amanitas for the night, or only look at polypores for the night or whatever, you can set that stuff in there, and then you will only see that, and you will go through it, and then the group can work on it, work on identifying it, kind of sharpen our skills and contribute to IDs at the same time. Look, Josh is coming back.
No, Luke, that's a good idea, because I do see a lot of things posted on Facebook and Instagram, but those mushrooms don't go into any kind of a database. But if you put it on Mushroom Observer or iNaturalist, it goes into a national database and it helps like community science figure out what grows there. So the more people that use those apps, the better. It's not really websites. Mushroom Observer is just a website, but
right,
the more people use them, the better.
Yep, and iNaturalist, the more good identifications that you put in iNaturalist, the smarter the program becomes. Because iNaturalist uses like AI, like a computer, like a artificial picture recognition software to try to suggest identifications to you. And the more solid identifications you have on a particular species, the more accurate it becomes.
Yeah,
So,
it's machine learning.
Right. So sometimes when you go in there and you'll look up a taxon, it'll tell you that the recognition software has not seen enough of this particular taxon to be able to make a suggestion for that. But as people go in there and continually put identifications for that taxon in there, you know, the machine learning picks it up, and it'll become more accurate in the identification for you.
Yeah, if you add the identification, we call it image tagging. So the more images you can tag, the better the learning model is, or the larger the sample is for the learning model.
So one of the problems with iNaturalist though is that there's so many bad identifications in there that it gets a little bit blurry. Plus, mushroom identification is just difficult anyway. But the more good identifications you have in there, the more accurate it becomes.
Yeah, you should try to put the best images in and tag just the best images if you can. That will help the learning model.
Right. Well, you don't really have any control over that because there's millions of users out there.
Yeah. But it's just in general, try to get your clearest images in there. It helps everybody.
Mushroom Observer is a better, like, scientific website for the East Coast anyway. I think iNaturalist is really used a lot on the West Coast, so it's better for those species. But Mushroom Observer out here, I think, is a better scientific thing. I use both because
I use both too, but unfortunately, Mushroom Observer doesn't have an app.
no, it's more difficult.
And
Not really hard to use, but you have to take pictures and then do it when you get home.
Right. Yeah, they really need to put an app together to communicate with their website. But I use both. You know, it depends on what I want to do. But when I'm trying to do a lot of inventorying quickly, iNaturalist is the way to go. It depends on what you're looking at too, you know, and who you want to talk to.
Well, Luke, I think your idea is a good one for the winter when we're not finding that much to go through. And particularly, like you said, if we look at ones that have been identified already, but maybe are identified incorrectly, I think that would be very useful to discuss them and try to get identification.
Try to clean them up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, because all it takes is two people thinking it's one wrong thing, and now it's quote research grade, and that is frustrating.
Yes, clean it up.
Yep.
All right, Lauren is ready.
Yeah.
I see you're back, Josh. Were you all done?
This is not it.
Yeah, for the most part, of course, I'm a newbie, so my computer wasn't plugged in like an idiot. So yeah,
Here?
totally cut you guys off.
Right
Left
here.
you hanging.
Somebody Sue put it into the chat, and Marisol mentioned it too. That little purple one, they had an ID on that one, Genopus iocephalus. The little purple one that was next to your aborted Entoloma. All right, go for it, Lauren.
All right. This was a little cluster. Here's the top. Here's the bottom. You can see the spore color there. I don't know what you'd call that, like a salmon-y kind of thing.
It's an Entoloma. But yeah, you can see the spore deposit on the top one. Is it on the ground or on wood?
Oh gosh, it's a good question. It was a couple of weeks ago, so I honestly don't remember. I should have written it down.
I think I saw those growing on the ground.
And those gills are attached, right?
No.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Can
The
you,
middle
can
one
you
you can
zoom
see.
in?
They're notched but attached.
Yeah.
Oh, they're notched, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you could see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? Entoloma?
Yeah.
Not a Pluteus.
Not a Pluteus, no.
Is that called adnate when the gills are like that?
Geez.
Up next, probably.
Up next.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Adnate is attached, by the entire width of the gill to the stem. Adnate is just by a portion of it, especially if you have a notch. So part of the gill is free and the base of it is basically attached to the stem. You understand?
No. Are you saying there's a difference between adnate and adnext?
Adnate and adnext. They're two similarly spelled words. Adnate means attached to the stem by the entire gill width. Adnate is partially attached.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Degree of attachment.
Read it a few times.
Yeah, any of your good ID books are going to have that in the beginning. So you need like a visual reference.
Okay.
That's my best guess on this, though, is Entoloma, but beyond that.
Okay. And I feel like I should know this, but I don't remember it. That's the top and then that's the bottom. I turned that one over.
Mhm. So it's what, Fulvofomes Gilvis?
Yep, looks like it.
So you can tell that by the minuscule pores, like what, like 6 to 7 pores per millimeter. So you can barely see them with your eye. And then the yellow banding is around the front one, and on these older ones, they're kind of faded, but you can see there where there was like a yellow band in them earlier in the year.
Look,
Yes.
and if you break it, you'll see that mustard color inside.
Yes, that's a very good way to look at it. Yep.
Yes.
Very mustardy.
I remember learning at some point about the mustard, whatever polypore. Is that what this is? Is that the common name?
Yep.
Or one of them?
Yep.
Okay.
You can even, that color that Marisol was mentioning, if you look at this one that's turned upside down, the upper left, you can get a little glimpse of that color where it was like attached. See that golden mustardy color?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're talking about good mustard, not that bright dyed yellow mustard.
I'll take any mustard I could get.
It looks like
All right.
it looks like I didn't see who it was. Somebody put in the chat function. Oh, Igor did. Add Nate versus add next. A resource. A link.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah, that's everything.
That's everything? All right.
Yep.
So what did we call this? Was this a
Oh.
feline?
Yes. Formally Philinus. I'll write it.
Okay.
There you go. Fulvofomes Gilvis.
Fulvofomes, okay.
All right. Anybody else want to go tonight?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys do other kinds of foraging, like wild edibles, berries, stuff like that?
I do berries.
Yeah. I
Yes.
do that too. Yeah, because if you're already out there, it's like the same drive you have for the mushrooms is kind of like, oh, is this edible or is it going to kill me? So it's nice to kind of know as much as I can.
But the club usually does a wild foods foray every June, but because of it hasn't been occurred for the past 2 years. But it's any type of wild food. You know, it's quite extensive, not just mushrooms. No.
Yeah, I would love to go to one of those. I think it's the more you learn, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Better than store-bought anyway.
Yeah, we usually hire a leader, like somebody who's written a book or something about wild foods, and they give us a tour of the foray site on all the different edibles that might be on the property. It's pretty good.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do that again this June. We usually do that in June, the end of June. All right, I just dropped a link into the chat for it's a link on Facebook. That's the only place I know of it that it was recorded, because it was a Facebook Live thing. It was from the Foray, Newfoundland and Labrador. That's a mushroom club. And they did a really good lecture a couple of weeks ago with Dr. Rick Vanderpool, who some of you may know from NYMF. He's the president of NYMF. And it was on rare fungi and conservation of rare fungi. And he was talking about mostly East Coast species of really, really underdocumented fungi from, the whole greater North American Northeast, and conservation efforts on it. So it was really, really a good, good lecture if anybody's interested in watching that. And part of that he was talking about was the Fundus Rare East Coast Challenge, where I think there's 20 mushrooms that they put out there. A list of 20 different mushrooms that for the next 3 years, I think, it's like a challenge to go out and try to document and find and document these mushrooms. So it's a scavenger hunt, but for only the rarest of mushrooms. So far, there's only about 10 things on there so far. If you go onto iNaturalist, you'll find it. It's the Fundus Rare 20 East Coast Challenge or something like that. If you go on the Fundus website, you'll see it. So he was talking a lot about that in this lecture. So, all right. Anything else tonight? All right. Hopefully we get some good rain, so we have lots more mushrooms to look at next week. All right. Well, then let's say goodnight to everyone, and we'll see everyone next week, right?
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
All right.
Take
everybody.
care.
Adios.
Good
Have a
night.
good night.
All right. Thanks everyone for
Bye.
sharing.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you all.